water, you have to store them where the runoff is collected and won't get into the water supply. All sorts of stuff. That as farm simmers we don't care about. But I do, I mean, even though I'm wrapping these on the field, when I'm using the collection trailer is one that grabs the bale and lifts it rather than scoops the bale and rolls it. Captain Zank, good morning. Yes, it is S'mores Day. We only have about 130 of these things to wrap. I think I checked, we had about 70 bales cut last week, and then I did another 60 this morning. 64 this morning. So, yay fun. But we're a good way through this. It's still just before 1 o'clock. Not sure I'll get the entire field done by 1. But it's going to be close, I think. Oi, oi, oi. So what else do we know about 22 that's coming? I haven't paid much attention. We are getting a new class harvester. Oops. So the harvester we have right now, I believe the Tucano. It's 11,000 litres. The new one's only 10,000. It's so it's in this sort of size, but it's the new class harvester. So yeah, it's about T560 sort of size. It's what class is calling their new mid-sized harvester. We're getting that for 22. I must admit, even as far as I am in 22, I still haven't played with a class harvester on my farms. I might have done the Dominator, but that's because it's cheap and small and I was doing a small farm. But for the most part, I was considering getting a Tucano for this farm, but then the Fendt harvesters came out. So yeah, I want to go with a Fendt. So that's why we've got the Fendt rather than the Tucano. Plus I think the Fendt we have is cheaper. 220 versus 348 plus the header, that's 25-foot header. I can't remember how big that one is. 30 foot. So yeah. And there's time, I'd like to get in some ways some different equipment on the farm. So that's either stuff that you don't commonly see other people playing with. And I have been guilty of overusing things like the Valtra N, probably even the Fendt Favorite 500C, 500C, 500, whatever it is, the 500 Fabric. I probably overused those tractors. Did have some fun playing small Swedish farm with a couple of Valtra A's. And that was really a case of using the smallest tractor I could get away with. But on this farm, yeah, I've got I think most of them are mods except the JCB. We did use the Lindner 130, and I think a lot of people were using that after Erlingrat was released. Sort of, yes, but it fitted with the Lindner Lintrack 90 it just wasn't capable enough, which is why I went for the 130 upgrade when it became available. But since then we've replaced that with the Class Scorpion Telehandler, I believe is the mod. And again, I don't frequently use telehandlers, so that's a new to me thing. The JCB is kind of a new to me thing. The Case Puma, I think it is a new to me thing. I don't think I've ever used Case except for the 7200 Pro, which is probably an overused tractor in the grand scheme of things because it's cheap and has a big engine. I try, when it comes to realism, I try to be somewhat realistic. So I do perform some research into the area the map is supposed to represent. So, for example, this area of the UK is very sheepy, not so much cows. And the fact that we've got 3 sheep fields available to us, which can take 500 sheep, really lends itself into we are planning to go completely overboard with sheep. With crops, I try and grow crops that are applicable to the region as well. In the UK, they don't grow a lot of corn. And any corn that they do grow tends to be animal feed. When I was playing Lawfolds in 17, they do not grow corn at all in Scotland. And when I started playing that playthrough, I didn't grow corn, purely because of that fact. Not that the Seasons Geo prevented me from growing corn. It was just a case of corn and soybeans aren't grown in Scotland. And about midway through that playthrough, I was reading an article on Scottish farming, and they said they had a new strain of corn that was designed to grow in somewhat cooler climates, and they were trialling it in Scotland as an animal feed on 2 farms. So at that point I said, fine, it is now somewhat realistic for me to grow corn on the farm. So I started growing corn purely for silage to feed to the cows, no other reason. I had pigs as well, so at that point, yes, I was also harvesting the corn to feed to the pigs. But the justification was all the corn I was growing was animal feed. It wasn't for human consumption, and it was 1 or 2 fields, and 80% of the product of that field was basically going to the bellies of either my pigs or my cows. So that's sort of the realism I try to go for. I'm not pure realistic, because I mean, you've got to remember, this is a game. It's kind of arcadey. It's not a true simulator as such. So there are some things you cannot do within the game. So yeah, it's sort of a conceptually, we are kind of realistic. So I'm trying to use equipment that you are more likely to see in the UK than you are in the not. Obviously, I'm not sure square bales are particularly common, basically because the equipment cost is so high. But that then comes down to an ease of play thing, where I'm saying it's a lot easier for me to use square bales because they don't go rolling and end up in the ditch over there somewhere because the field leans that way. But yeah, it's... So I do watch, people like Tom Pemberton, the Millennial Farmer, the Bernard family farm, and they're sort of a small cattle operation with some arable. And I just to see how things are done. But I also, a lot of the people I watch are American. And there is a difference between farming in America, farming in the UK. So I've watched some UK farming. Tom Pemberton did his second cut grass silage today. I think I can't remember if it was yesterday or the day before he released the video. And he's loading up his new clamp, and he tips at the entrance to the new clamp, and then he has a shovel on a telehandler, probably a small front loader, I'm guessing, to push the silage to the back of the clamp. I've watched a video where the carters would just empty the silage on the ground in front of the silage bunker. They wouldn't even attempt to reverse into the silage bunker. They just did a drive-by, dropped the silage at the entrance and drove off back to the field. So it kept the carting fast. And then they had a wheel loader shoveling that silage into the clamp and then compacting it. So that's kind of a difference to the way I do it. I tend to reverse the trailer into the silage clamp and then compact it as and when I can. And they're probably, that's a hard thing to do. I'm always getting the trailer stuck on the mound of silage and all of that sort of thing. But because it's only me, I have I don't have a lot of options. I'm not using things like Horseplay to make that job easier. I can't use multiple carting tractors to do it. If I did a multiplayer farm and we did silage, it would be a lot easier because you can have one guy on the forager, a few guys running carts, and then one guy with the big giant wheel loader shoveling the silage as it's delivered into the farm. So, for gameplay purposes, there's some things I don't do realistic. I was mentioning earlier auto-load bale trailers. I have a flatbed trailer for the truck, which has an auto-load script on it. And the justification for that is it would probably take me 4 hours to stack all of these bales onto the back of a flatbed trailer. And I would have to do it myself because I'm playing single player. The auto-load script trailers, I could park the JCB off to the side of the field and just claim, well, I've got a worker who's stacking the bales on the back of the truck. So there's gameplay stuff, and there's realism as to what you're growing, how you're harvesting it. And I try to do the realism on what I'm growing and how I'm harvesting it and the equipment I'm using, less so for gameplay purposes. And I will, if I've got a field with 10 bales in it, I'll go get the telehandler and stack a small bale trailer, because it's not going to take a long time. I wish there was an easier way to do this, because this is taking way too long. But there isn't. So I just have to sit here and drive slowly around the field while wrapping the marshmallows. As I said, I do know there's speed wrappers somewhere, but I haven't found a reliable source of mods that doesn't try and download nefarious applications that I really don't want on my PC. So it's one of the troubles I had trying to find a what are we using? We're using the vehicle enhanced driving mod or something like that, and I discovered that the Brazilian Land Rover set, there was the wagon and the pickup don't work with the updated version of that mod. And I used to have a Land Rover Defender 90 mod, and when my hard drive crashed, obviously I lost that mod on the old hard drive that can't be read, and the website that I got it from, which was a reliable mod site without the nefarious garbage on it, had shut down, so I didn't have access to that mod. However, I did want a Land Rover on the farm, since it's what we'd been using since the start, so I had to go and hunt for one, and I found it on 3 or 4 mod sites, and it was the 4th one I found where it was sort of, okay, this is a reasonably reliable mod site that's not going to download garbage onto my PC while I'm downloading mods. And so I pulled it from there, but other ones, it was just, oh, you want to download some crap? Yes, we're not going there, thank you. Now the Land Rover I'm using, while it's got a soft cover on the back, so I've turned that off, so it's running in sort of pickup style, but it's a full size cab, so 2 rows of seating, and I don't think farmers typically have Land Rovers of that size. That's why I liked the sort of the Brazilian Land Rovers, which are actually under the Lizard name brand, although it's obvious they are actually Land Rovers. Very little has gone into changing the body style in both of them, and they're more of the style of, I don't think I've got them active now. Oh, L comes after K, we're still in K. Lizard. I do not have them. I deleted them off because they don't work with the driving mod that I'm using. So. Oh, that's the little round wrapper mod. Also added some of these things here. Don't know if they'll work. I don't have a use for them anymore, but they're more realistic than the belt system, I think, for farms this sort of size. But they don't reach up over a semi-truck tipper, or at least that first one didn't. This was the original one I had. This one, you can't raise that top end high enough to get over normal sized trailers. If you've got small tipper, let's go here. If you've got something like these, it'll tip into one of those. It might tip into one of those. But once you get to this sort of size, it comes up to the side there where the label is. So yeah, you can't use it on everything. But I don't know if those new ones actually have some form of uppy downy thing that raises the out pipe, but they're useful for moving most stuff, obviously not sugar beets lying on the ground, where you end up having to use a thing. Oh, we're nearly done now. How are we doing? 1 o'clock. We've got 8 to do. Wow. So we've wrapped this field in about 1 hour. That's not too bad, I guess. And it's also, I mean, sometimes I'll do this sort of job off camera. So I'm sitting around on a Saturday afternoon having lunch and slowly driving around the field wrapping a bunch of bales. So that next week I can get on with good stuff, like harvesting the potatoes, which is probably going to end up being a long and laborious process. But anyway, we're nearly done here. Then we can take this all back to the yard and wash it all up. Of course, there's no other jobs that I have available right now on the farm, pretty certain. Well, FS19, welcome to the stream, and thank you for the follow. So, what am I looking up here? I am looking up... Oh, there is a job I can do. I need to plough field 27, but apart from that, that's oilseed radish. That's been spread with stuff. We started spreading that with manure. I'm probably going to end up having to oilseed radish this field as well. What did we have in there? So that's my big field though. Yeah, I think if you go to the Discord channel for the farming agency, there is a link to their secret online storage area where you can actually download it. There is actually a newer version than this, but I didn't want to mess around with that. So what am I looking up here? So yeah, that has stuff on it. Oh, I can plant that with canola anytime I like now, I think. Or maybe it's tomorrow. But yeah, I've got nothing to harvest. The only field we've got left is field 8, and that's not ready yet. So yeah, I mean, there's, as I said, there's ploughing of field 27 still to do. Let's get this done. And I keep saying that every week, so that might be the next job I need to do. Since we've got our 2 heavy our mowing team is complete, I could probably not put the Challenger away and just load it up with the plough and get that down there right away. Now I've got a big plough and a small plough, and to get to their Discord you might need to go to their Facebook page and find out what the Discord link is for their Discord. But yes, FS UK, sad to see that one go. There was another one as well. FS19 UK used to be a thing as well, or something like that. And that's where I got a lot of my really cool mods, and they're just not available anymore. I had a voucher pack from the FS UK 19, FS19 UK, whatever it was, and as I said, that one went away sometime late 2019. But it was a really nice voucher pack that the modder had basically taken all the in-game vouchers, given them all of the engine models that Valtra make them with, and also all of the official Valtra colours. So you couldn't use, whereas buying a Valtra on here, you just get what I think people commonly call the lizard colour scheme, which is sort of everything. It was limited. You had red, metallic red, yellow, metallic yellow, which looked more gold, white, metallic white, black and metallic black, silver, sort of a metal colour, a metallic silver. But as I said, because that site went bust and I lost my hard drive, I couldn't replace that mod, and it was never released to the mod hub. So for the most part on this playthrough I'm using mods that are only available on the mod hub, and the only two that I'm aware of that I'm not is the realistic seeder mod, which requires that you load a seeder with specific seed for the crop you want to plant, and the Land Rover. And I had to hunt for the Land Rover because... Hi dog, I'm guessing you're hungry. Let's do that. There you go. Okay. A little bit. Okay, you're good. Find out, dog. So yeah, and that's primarily because having lost the hard drive, it was very difficult to go and find all the mods I used to have.